Oh man, so ADA, Algorand and COTI are all at critical points forming patterns which could suggest to us where they're going to head in the next few hours. So we need to take a look at all three of these charts. I'm going to share with you what I'm seeing in the charts and where they could be heading in the short term, and also my long-term view on each of these projects as well. So first off, you remember from my update on Cardano yesterday, on the hourly chart, we were falling out of this upward wedge, which is a bearish pattern, and our price target to the downside is the green level at $1.87 on Cardano, currently sitting at $1.93, and there's still some room left for Cardano to fall before we get some support at the green line I've shared there, which is also the bottom of the wedge on our technical target. Okay, so still some room for Cardano to the downside. Now, if you bring out our EMA ribbon, we've been bearish on the hourly chart for quite a while now. The EMA ribbon is acting as resistance, and we're struggling to break to the upside. The momentum on Cardano is to the downside. Now, if we come out onto the 4-hourly, you'll see a similar story. On the 4-hourly, we've been very confused in the price action on Cardano. We've said this for a while on the channel. It's just been basically trading sideways. Bearish, bullish, and now suddenly we've had a little bit of a breakdown to becoming more bearish than bullish. Now, if I head back to the next time frame, which is the daily, you will see that we were forming this triangle pattern for the longest period of time. And if I take off the EMA ribbon just to tidy things up, you could see just by the wicks on this Cardano chart how volatile the price has been, and just sideways, just been up and down, big wicks on this pattern, and you can see we just were not breaking out of this triangle, right? And it used up the whole of the triangle, and there was no breakout to the upside, no breakout to the downside. It's kind of just sitting there at $2, super undervalued for Cardano in the long run, because we know it's run up to $3 plus in the past. And when you've got Ethereum breaking all-time highs, you've got Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs, you've got the layer 1 solutions really hot right now, Cardano is super undervalued, but it's understandable because they've not launched their DEX, right? They've not launched their decentralized exchange. There's not much momentum in there, and things like Terra, Phantom are really moving from strength to strength, and people are getting frustrated with Cardano. So on this pattern now, we obviously had the breakdown from here, and we thought we were going to get a bounce back up, but you can see the continuation pattern is showing us more risk to the downside on Cardano. So the question now is, where do our support levels come in? And our immediate support level is obviously sitting at $1.87, and then our next support levels come in at $1.61. So it's quite a fall down here. So if we don't get some support on Cardano in the immediate future around this sort of a level, I would be expecting it to come down to $1.63, which just for me presents even more of an opportunity to be buying Cardano. I mean, as I said, this is going to prove to be a good opportunity to buy Cardano, and anything lower than that for me is a bonus. If we come back out to the weekly, you would just see how much potential Cardano has. If I bring the EMA ribbon out, and you will see the patterns that Cardano makes on this chart, okay? Very healthy. It has its run up, it calls off, has its run off, calls off into the EMA, had its run, and we're just in that calling pattern again. And I expect this to go from strength to strength on Cardano. So no worries on the Cardano chart for me. It's a calling off period. Again, another opportunity to buy the dip. Everything's been so hot recently. The run up Cardano had all the way up to $3.10. It's natural for it to get a calling off, and you can see there on the weekly, we've just touched the EMA ribbon, right? We've just touched the EMA ribbon, and there's no signs of us flipping bearish on the very long run on Cardano. Let's take a look at COTI as well, because we know these projects are super joined. And when we covered when we looked at COTI yesterday, we saw that we were at this really critical moment where we broke out to the upside from this yellow wedge, okay? So we're in this yellow wedge, and we were looking to break to the upside, and we got our breakout to the upside, and then within there you can see this wedge, and we had this continuation pattern, but we broke to the downside. We broke to the downside on that continuation pattern, and what that meant was, for this move to remain bullish, what we needed next was to come and get a retest of the wedge. Okay, and you can see my drawing on there, where we want to come back, test the top of the yellow line, and bounce off it to the upside in order to create this continuation pattern. If we end up back in the wedge, that's then a problem, because we're then bearish heading back into the wedge. We've lost the momentum from that breakout, okay? And that would be a problem for COTI, given that for such a long time we were in this channel, right? We were in our buy zone for such a long time. and COTY's not managed to have some movement. But the worrying sign here in the short term for COTY is if Cardano's falling to the downside and continue to break to the downside, which I've just shared with you, then it's unlikely that COTY decouples and goes on a massive run. So COTY at the very best is probably going to go sideways, if not downwards, as Cardano heads downwards. So I'd be very wary of that in the short term. If you're a long-term play, it's not a problem. Again, I always want to remind you guys of where we're at on the long term, because I know a lot of people focus on the short-term timescales, but we need to be focused on where we're at in the long term. And in the long term, you can see COTY formed this nice cup and handle pattern exactly here. Okay, you had your handle, we had our breakout, create a second handle, and we were hoping for this breakout on this second handle. So we need to keep an eye on this. Now, if we take a look at the EMA ribbon on the daily, you can see here, if I zoom in, you will be able to see that even on this EMA ribbon, we're perfectly fine there. Can you see that, guys? So you can see there, we've got it. We need to just bounce off this EMA ribbon, and we're not penetrated it. So until we get a daily close below this EMA ribbon, somewhere in this region, then we're not bearish on the daily time frame, even on COTY, let alone the weekly. So overall, COTY remains the same position for me. If Cardano's calling down, then COTY's going to struggle to run. So keep that in mind if you're trading on a short-term basis. But for the long term, both these projects are super undervalued right now, partly because of Cardano not launching enough right now. But we know that we've got some news coming around the COTY mainnet on 2.0 on the 2nd of November. So watch out for that. If you haven't watched my video on that, go check out my video on, this is a huge 3 days for COTY and Cardano. Now, finally, let's take a look at Algorand, because we need to update on Algorand as well. And what we could see happening on Algorand, if I go into the hourly chart, you will notice that we were falling out from this wedge. So we were in this wedge pattern, and you can see we broke to the downside. Okay, so your target price is the bottom of the wedge. We still have some downside risk on Algorand to get to the bottom of the wedge. That's sitting at $1.73. So we're sat at $1.77 right now. So on the hourly, we are bearish on Algorand. If we switch up to the 4-hourly chart, I can see something in the charts which I want to make everybody aware of on Algorand, because this could be exposing us to more downside risk. And you can see we're forming this very important head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so there's your left shoulder, your head, and your right shoulder, and this could be leading to a breakdown further to the downside. So for me, I'm keeping an eye on this $1.64 mark on Algorand given this bearish setup. If we get a bounce now from this $1.79 mark, that's going to be important. But at the moment, you can see on the 4-hourly, we had a big red candlestick, and now we're fighting for this candle to turn green. Still 3 hours left of this green candle. If we can remain above $1.79, that's good, because it could suggest we're getting some support from there. But if not, I'll be looking at the $1.64 mark on Algorand. Now, switching this back up to the daily time frame, what are we seeing on the daily for Algorand? Well, we're still in our breakout, okay? So on Algorand, we're still technically in our breakout. We were in this really big triangle pattern, which was our big continuation pattern, and we broke to the upside, right? So you broke to the upside, which is great, but what we're seeing here could just be us retesting the top of the support line, the top of the triangle, before heading higher. So we're not bearish on this pattern, we've not invalidated this pattern, and if and until this doesn't end up below the mark I've said there, which is the bottom of the apex of the triangle, sitting at $1.64. So if we do get to that $1.64 mark, and we don't get a bounce, we lose that area, then this pattern becomes invalidated, okay? This triangle pattern becomes invalidated. So we need to keep an eye on that. So overall, that's where we stand on all three coins. It's the weekend right now, so volumes are low and things can always head to the downside, and it's easier to manipulate these coins. So we'll get a better view on this over the weekend. But right now, that's where we stand on Algorand, COTY, and Cardano. With Cardano and COTY, we know we've got the mainnet launching on the 2nd of November for COTY mainnet 2.0. Can that be a catalyst? Will that lead to anything, or will it be anticlimactic? We'll have to watch out and see what happens to the price action. But either way, all three of these projects for me are high conviction, long-term plays, and I'm happy if I see any weakness in the price to average out my positions. And it's not financial advice for you guys, but that's what I'll be doing on those. So there you have it, guys. There's the update. If, as always, you like my blend between technical and fundamental analysis, then please consider hitting the like button and subscribing and supporting this community. As always, you guys know what I'm focused on doing is helping everybody create a sustainable way of investing in crypto and stocks as well, right? We know we've got new people entering the crypto space every single day, discovering Dogecoin or Shiba Inu or any other coin, and we want to bring them into our environment, bring them into our ecosystem, educate everybody on how to trade and invest sustainably, and that's the key right now. As always, links in the description will be for you to go and collect your free money. Swissborg offering up to 100 euros when you deposit 50 euros. So that is absolutely free money. You've got Coinbase giving you $10 in free Bitcoin when you buy or sell $100 or more in crypto. And BlockFi will give you $10 in Bitcoin as soon as you deposit $100 or equivalent. Okay, so that's free money. You can put it in, get your reward, and take it out. No issues there whatsoever. And it's really important that you set up your exchanges, guys. Really important you have your exchanges ready. I've heard so many people waiting to buy the dip. I mean, if Phantom falls to $1.70 and you're not set up on your exchanges, you're trying to get money and move it all around, you miss these opportunities. The crypto market moves fast and you need to be set up with your different platforms ready. As always, guys, I'm going to leave the link in the pinned comment to our free public Discord channel, okay? That's where the community is growing rapidly, guys. We're having a lot of great discussions in there, a lot of smart people, a lot of new people as well, helping each other out, asking questions on the charts. I'm spending time in there answering your questions as well, talking about new coins and tokens and opportunities. So definitely head into there and meet like-minded people and share ideas and ask questions, okay? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.